My friend, there are seasons in life when it feels like nothing remarkable could ever happen again. You've been waiting, praying, believing, yet all you encounter are shut doors and barren days. You start to assume maybe this is how things will always remain. But listen to me. Today, God is preparing a breathtaking surprise that will leave you amazed. You might not perceive it yet, but heaven has been arranging the scene for something that will take your breath away. What you call a delay is a truly divine setup. What seems like a setback is actually the ground for an unbelievable comeback. There comes a moment when God disrupts the ordinary with the extraordinary, when what once felt routine suddenly turns miraculous, when what looked like the ending becomes the beginning of something entirely new. You see, God often conceals his greatest blessings within the moments that seem the most hidden, the most silent, and the most forgotten. That's where faith is refined. That's where you prove to heaven that your trust in God isn't based on what you can see, but on what you believe he is about to reveal. Right now, you may find yourself standing in the middle of uncertainty. You've prayed, you've waited, you've wept. Maybe you've said, God, I've stayed faithful. Why hasn't anything shifted? But hear me. God's silence does not mean his absence. He is still orchestrating, still moving, still arranging the miracle that your eyes haven't seen yet. The surprise he's preparing will bring meaning to every tear, every closed opportunity, every sleepless night you've endured. God's greatest surprises are never small. They appear when you least anticipate them, and they transform your entire story. You might have walked through years of struggle, but those years were not wasted. They were divine preparation. They were shaping your spirit for what's ahead. Because when God chooses to surprise you, he doesn't give something ordinary. He gives something that carries purpose. Let me remind you, God never overlooks a faithful heart. Every prayer whispered in the dark, every quiet act of kindness, every time you forgave when you could have fought back, heaven took note. And when the time is right, God delivers the reward in a way no person could ever engineer. The surprise he has for you won't arrive by your effort alone. It will come through his power. It won't make sense to those who doubted you. It won't follow logic. It won't come from the sources you expected. Because when God acts, he moves beyond imagination. Sometimes God shuts a door not to punish you, but to protect you from less than what you deserve. You may have pleaded for that relationship, that opportunity, that position, but God said no because he saw the pain behind that door. And when you learn to trust his no, you make space for his yes. The surprise that's on its way will make you thank God for every no that once broke your heart. So don't resent the waiting. Don't curse the process. The delay is divine. God hides greatness in the soil of patience. You may feel stuck, but you are not buried. You are planted. A seed cannot see the sunlight while it's still underground. But deep within that darkness, transformation is taking place. One day that seed will push through the ground, and when it does, everyone who counted you out will be amazed. The surprise won't just bless you, it will proclaim the power of God. When God chooses to surprise you, he does it suddenly. Suddenly you wake up one morning, and everything is shifted. Suddenly the message arrives. The door opens. The opportunity unfolds. But before the sudden comes the silence. God works in quietness before he reveals in fullness. Don't be deceived by the silence. Heaven is actively writing your story. Angels are arranging every detail. The path is being straightened. The right people are being positioned in place. Some of you are crying out, when God, when will my breakthrough come? And God gently whispers, trust my timing. Because if he gave it too early, it might overwhelm you instead of uplift you. He's not withholding. He's preparing you. The surprise that's coming requires depth, patience, and strength to sustain it. God doesn't only hand out blessings, he entrusts assignments. And sometimes he postpones the promise until the vessel is ready to receive it. Oh, how often we assume God has overlooked us, when in truth he's reserving the best for the appointed time. He's waiting for that perfect moment when the blessing will bring the greatest glory to his name. You may have believed the chapter had ended, but God is about to write the next page. You've walked through the valley long enough. You've faced the storm long enough. The surprise will arrive like sunlight after endless rain. It won't be small. It will be something only God could have orchestrated. So keep walking, keep believing, keep expecting. Don't let your faith die in the hallway before the door opens. Faith isn't pretending that everything is perfect. It's the assurance that even in chaos, God is still in control. And when you cling to that truth, heaven starts aligning everything in your favor. Sometimes God conceals your blessing in plain view. The opportunity could already be near. You just haven't recognized it yet. You might be speaking with someone who carries the key to your next chapter without even realizing it. God moves through divine connection. He can use a single encounter, a single choice, a single unexpected moment to redirect your entire destiny. That's how his surprises unfold. They're wrapped in ordinary days, but deliver extraordinary results. When you finally witness what God has been preparing, you'll see why you had to wait, why some people walked away, and why nothing else succeeded. Surprise will bring clarity to every disappointment. You'll say, now I see, now I understand why God closed that door. Because his hand never eroded by your circumstances. He's not shaken by your lack. He's not alarmed by what you've lost. He can create abundance out of emptiness. He can open pathways where none exist. He can use opposition as the ladder to your promotion. That's the magnitude of his power. You may feel surrounded by impossibilities, but impossibility is the canvas where God paints his greatest miracles. You are nearer than you realize. You're standing on the threshold of a divine surprise. You may not notice any visible signs, but God never unveils his plans with noise or display. He moves in mystery and reveals majesty. That's how he keeps your enemies uncertain. They will never see it coming. My friend, you need to understand that God delights in working behind the curtain. When it seems like nothing is taking place, heaven is operating in full motion. The silence you sense is not abandonment, it's construction. God is crafting something behind the scenes that your eyes are not yet ready to see. If you could catch a glimpse into the unseen realm right now, you would be astonished at how near you are to break through. You would witness angels in motion, pathways shifting, and destinies aligning perfectly. But God conceals it because faith flourishes best in the dark. Faith isn't about seeing, it's about trusting. And trust means continuing to walk even when the road ahead looks unclear. It means worshiping when your heart feels heavy. It means believing when logic insists it's over. That's when heaven takes notice. That's when your endurance draws divine attention. Because God never forgets those who choose not to give up. He rewards those who believe even when belief seems unreasonable. Some of you have been carrying heavy loads, praying for transformation, longing for a sign. You've stayed faithful, yet it feels as if heaven has gone silent. But let me remind you of this truth. The quiet season is the birthplace of miracles. When God is preparing to surprise you, He often conceals you first. He pulls you away from the noise so your faith can be refined. You might feel forgotten by others, but in reality you've been hidden by God for a greater purpose. Don't confuse isolation with rejection. God conceals His most valuable vessels before displaying them to the world. Look back over your life. How many times did everything seem to fall apart only for you to realize later that things were falling into place? The pain was positioning you. The delay was protecting you. The confusion was producing resilience within you. The great surprise God has designed for you couldn't have arrived earlier because you weren't yet ready to carry its weight. The blessing that's coming won't be light. It will be powerful. It will carry influence, impact, and divine authority. That's why you had to endure those seasons of pressure. Pressure builds depth. Pain shapes purpose. Waiting teaches wisdom. Everything you've gone through has been preparing you for this divine unveiling. God is not a careless architect. He knows exactly what He's building in your life. And when it finally arrives, you won't be able to contain the joy. You'll realize no human hand could have orchestrated what has taken place. It will bear the unmistakable fingerprint of God. People will ask, "How did this happen?" And your only response will be, "Only God could have done this." Because God's surprises are never small. They are supernatural. They bear the seal of the divine and silence doubt in an instant. Right now you may feel like nothing is unfolding, but in reality everything is moving into place. The world around you may not mirror your prayers, but the world above you has already released the answer. The very moment you prayed in faith, God began to move. You may not see it yet because heaven works on divine timing, not human schedules. The appointed time has already been written into your destiny, and when that moment arrives, no force on earth will be able to stop what God has ordained. Sometimes the reason the surprise takes longer to arrive is because God is aligning every detail with perfection. The right people must be positioned in the right place. The right doors must open at the right time. The right circumstances must unfold in divine order. God's plan is never random. It's designed with heavenly precision. What you perceive as delay is actually divine coordination for a perfect outcome. So don't complain while you wait. Speak faith instead of frustration. Offer praise instead of panic. Thank God for what He's preparing even before it becomes visible. Gratitude unlocks heaven's abundance. When you thank God in advance, you are declaring your trust in His timing. And trust always attracts the blessing closer. God moves powerfully wherever faith is alive. And let this sink in. God has not forgotten your name. He knows every tear that has fallen from your eyes. He has witnessed every night you struggled to stay strong. He has heard the unspoken cry of your heart. Every sigh, every whisper, every silent prayer has been recorded in heaven. And soon God will respond in a way that will fill you with awe and holy wonder. You may be surrounded by those who don't understand you, who mock your faith, who doubt your hope. Let them talk. God doesn't need their approval to bless you. In fact, sometimes He allows people to underestimate you, so His glory can shine even brighter when He elevates you. They thought your story was over, but God was only beginning. The surprise won't just bless you, it will silence every voice that said you couldn't succeed. There is a divine pattern in the way God operates. He often lets your situation grow darker before the light bursts through. Just when you think it's over, He steps in with power. That's not coincidence. That's His divine signature. He allows things to reach their breaking point so that when He intervenes, there's no confusion about who deserves the glory. When life feels impossible, that's your cue to start rejoicing, because impossibility is heaven's signal that God is about to act. Think back to all those moments you thought you wouldn't make it, and yet you're still standing. That's living proof that God has been faithful, and if He's carried you this far, He won't abandon you now. The same hand that held you through your darkest nights is still holding you today. The same power that rescued you before will deliver you again, and this time it will be greater, deeper, and even more miraculous. Sometimes the greatest surprise God gives isn't what you receive, but who you become. You thought you were waiting for a breakthrough, but in reality, God was building your character. He was strengthening your faith, refining your heart, and teaching you endurance. The outer blessing will come, but the inner transformation is the true miracle. God wants your faith to mature before your situation changes. He wants your soul to grow strong before your surroundings shift. Because when the heart is prepared, the blessing will endure. The surprise that's coming isn't just about possessions, it's about purpose. It's about peace that can't be shaken, favor that can't be explained, and protection that can't be broken. God isn't just preparing to give you something, He's preparing to make you someone. Someone who can stand through storms and not be shaken. Someone who can walk in humility even when blessings overflow. Someone who can shine brightly without forgetting the one who gave the light. You see, God doesn't bless you merely for your comfort. He blesses you for your calling. The surprise that's coming your way will not only elevate your life, it will empower you to uplift others. Because when God blesses a person, His intention is for that blessing to overflow. Just as rivers flow into the ocean, His favor flows through willing and surrendered hearts. That's how His power multiplies across lives open to Him. There's something sacred about divine timing. When God declares that your moment has arrived, everything begins to align quietly. What once appeared random starts to reveal purpose. Every closed door, every delay, every tearful season becomes a thread in the masterpiece that only God could weave. Sometimes we get so busy asking why that we forget God is writing when. The why belongs to your understanding, but the when belongs to His wisdom. And when that finally arrives, it will feel like a dream. There will come a day when you'll wake up and realize everything has shifted. The heaviness will lift. The burden will break. The door will open. And you look back at this waiting season and whisper, God, you were working all along. You see, God doesn't always explain His process, because if He told you everything, you'd try to take control. He keeps certain things hidden so that you'll learn full dependence on Him. Dependency is the birthplace of revelation. The more you rely on God, the clearer you see His fingerprints in your life. And I want you to feel this truth deep in your spirit. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The silence isn't evidence that God has left you. It's proof that He's trusting you with growth. Growth often feels painful because it stretches your capacity, but that stretching is essential for expansion. You can't receive a great surprise with a limited mindset. God is enlarging your spirit to hold what He's about to release. When the surprise manifests, it won't merely meet your expectations, it will exceed them, because God never gives according to your imagination. He gives according to His greatness. You've been praying for a door to open, but God is designing an entirely new house. You've been asking for restoration, but He's preparing multiplication. His plan isn't to return what you lost, but to bring something greater than before. This is the way God works. He allows seasons that strip away the temporary so He can reveal what's eternal. You may have lost relationships, opportunities, or possessions, but you haven't lost His favor. And if you still have God's favor, you have everything you need. Because favor opens any door. Favor rewrites any story. Favor reverses any verdict. When the favor of God rests upon you, even your enemies will have to watch you rise. Some of you are about to witness divine reversals. The very people who thought you were finished will stand amazed as God causes you to bloom. The same situations that were meant to break you will become the very stage for your promotion. Because God isn't only restoring, He's rewriting. He's transforming your pain into prophecy, your sorrow into strength, your loss into legacy. The surprise He has prepared isn't random, it's redemptive. It's designed to reclaim every wasted moment and prove that nothing you endured was in vain. God often hides your elevation within seasons of humiliation. That's why you face so much rejection. That's why doors closed in your face. That's why people left when you needed them most. They were part of the process, not the promise. God used their absence to draw you deeper into His presence, because sometimes He must remove distractions to reveal direction. You thought you were being left behind, but in truth, you are being set apart. Let me remind you, when God sets you apart, you may feel lonely, but you will never be alone. His hand still rests on you, even when you don't feel deserving. His mercy still covers you even when others fail to understand you, and His timing will vindicate you when words cannot. You don't have to defend yourself to anyone. The surprise God is preparing will speak louder than any explanation. Your results will silence every critic, and when that moment arrives, don't be surprised if it feels sudden, because that's how God moves. He acts suddenly after long seasons of silence. It will seem as though everything changed overnight, but it didn't. It was built upon years of obedience, faith, and unseen prayers. God simply chose the perfect moment to reveal it. What feels sudden to you is strategic to heaven right now. Lift your vision higher. Stop interpreting life through what's happening around you and start discerning what God is shaping within you. He's transforming you into someone stronger, wiser, and more steadfast. You're not just waiting for a blessing. You're becoming one. You're not just waiting for a miracle. You're walking toward it with every step of faith. Every morning you rise and choose hope. You move closer to your divine surprise. And sometimes God's surprises come wrapped in storms. You might be facing something today that feels unbearable, a betrayal, a loss, a disappointment. But hear this, the same storm that threatened to drown you will carry you into a new season. God uses the very wind that blows against you to push you where you're destined to go. The storm that was meant to destroy you will ultimately deliver you. Because when you belong to God, even your battles are turned for your benefit. So don't despise the struggle. Don't fear the storm. Every challenge you encounter is a divine announcement that something powerful is about to emerge. The pressure you feel isn't defeat, it's delivery. You are birthing something sacred, and like any birth, pain always comes before the promise. You might shed tears through it, but when the breakthrough arrives, those tears will turn into laughter. The same mouth that trembled in sorrow will sing with joy. The surprise that's coming will heal every wound and restore every broken piece. You may not realize it now, but God has been training you quietly. Every trial was a lesson. Every disappointment was preparation for divine discipline. Every delay was designed to strengthen your endurance, because God cannot elevate someone who hasn't been refined through resistance. The greater the calling, the deeper the preparation. That's why your path felt heavier. It's because you were being equipped for something far greater than others could see. When the surprise finally arrives, you'll look back and realize that none of it was wasted. You'll understand that every no was guiding you toward a more powerful yes. You'll see that every loss was clearing space for something new. And you'll thank God not only for what He gave, but also for what He chose to withhold. Because in hindsight, you'll recognize that His wisdom was far greater than your desire. Sometimes the greatest gift God gives isn't what He places in your hands, but what He removes from your life. He removes people, habits, and surroundings that can't walk with you into your next season. He clears the path so you won't carry unnecessary weight into your future. It stings in the moment, but later you'll see it was mercy. The removal was protection. The delay was direction. The pain was preparation. And when your great surprise unfolds, remember it's not only for your joy but for God's glory. He doesn't bless you just so you can shine. He blesses you so His power can be revealed through your story. Every blessing is a testimony. Every miracle carries a message. When people witness your transformation, they'll know it wasn't your strength, it was the hand of God. That's why you must walk with gratitude. The posture of your heart determines how long your blessing will last. Gratitude keeps your spirit open for increase. When you thank God for the little things, you make room for the greater things. When you praise Him in private, He honors you in public. When you stay humble, He raises you beyond what you imagine. There are seasons when the weight of waiting feels unbearable. You've prayed, fasted, wept, and believed, and still nothing seems to change. But hear me, God's silence is not His absence. It's His strategy. His delays are never denied. He's not ignoring you. He's orchestrating something beyond your comprehension. You see, when God prepares to release something that will astonish you, He doesn't hurry. He works with purpose, precision, and divine timing that no one can disrupt. It may appear as if you're standing still, but in the unseen realm there is movement. Forces are being aligned. Blessings are being packaged. Opportunities are being perfected. What appears to be stillness is actually divine choreography. Heaven is composing something that will unfold flawlessly. Not too early, not too late, but exactly when God knows you're ready to receive it. And sometimes the surprise doesn't come because of what you do, but because of what you endure. God rewards those who persevere with faith. When you choose to trust Him in pain, when you choose to honor Him in disappointment, when you choose to keep your heart pure even when it's breaking, that's when you touch the very heart of God. You prove that your love for Him is not dependent on outcome. And that kind of faith moves mountains. It opens doors. It shakes heaven itself. The truth is, you cannot have a great destiny without great testing. Every extraordinary destiny is born through pressure. The fire that tried to consume you was actually refining you. The betrayal that pierced your heart was clearing away false connections. The heartbreak that shattered you was creating room for something purer and stronger. The hands of God have been shaping, molding, and chiseling away everything that doesn't belong in your next season. You are His masterpiece, and every masterpiece requires time. When the great surprise arrives, you won't just rejoice. You'll weep in holy wonder. You'll suddenly realize that every sleepless night, every tear shed in silence, every unanswered prayer was working together for this divine moment. You'll see that God never overlooked a single detail. He was keeping records. He was preparing the exact portion of blessing that your spirit could sustain. Nothing was wasted. Every hardship became a seed for your miracle. And when it manifests, you'll know it wasn't luck, coincidence, or human favor. It was divine orchestration. God will do what no person could ever take credit for. He'll open doors that everyone believed were permanently closed. He'll turn adversaries into unexpected instruments of blessing. He'll send provision from places you never imagined, because when He moves in ways that leave no room for anyone else to steal His glory. Let me remind you, sometimes the true surprise isn't that God gives you what you ask for, but that He gives you something far greater than you ever dreamed. You prayed for survival, but He gives you triumph. You asked for healing, but He gives you wholeness. You sought direction, but He gives you destiny. God always blesses in abundance, because He is not the God of limits. He is the God of overflow. His goodness doesn't drip, it floods. But before the overflow, there must be an empty. God clears out what no longer serves you, so He can fill you with what truly sustains you. He removes the temporary to reveal the eternal. That's why He permits seasons of lack, not to punish you, but to purify your motives. He teaches you that true joy doesn't flow from what you hold in your hands, but from who holds your heart. And when your dependence shifts from things to God Himself, you become unshakable, because no loss can destroy someone whose source is divine. And listen carefully. When God surprises you, it won't be quiet or subtle. It will be undeniable. It will leave others in awe. Those who doubted you will have to confess that only God could have done it. Those who dismissed you will witness the glory of God radiating through your life. Your rise won't make human sense. And that's how you'll know it's Him. You won't have to fight for recognition. God Himself will announce you. He will lift you in His own timing and in His own way. But here's what you must always remember. The purpose of the surprise isn't just to bless you, it's to transform you. The blessing isn't the final destination, it's the assignment. God blesses you so you can become a blessing. He raises you so you can raise others. He fills your cup so you can pour into those still thirsty. The surprise isn't just about your life getting better. It's about your light growing brighter. Because when God favors you, it's so that others can witness His power through your story. So when the miracle comes, don't stay silent. Testify. Tell the world what God has done. Speak of His mercy, His timing, His goodness. Your story will strengthen someone else's faith. You never know who's hanging on by a thread, waiting to hear that God still moves, still restores, still surprises. You might be the very voice that awakens hope in another heart. And once you begin to live with that awareness, fear of the future starts to fade, because you realize that every season, whether bright or bitter, is part of God's divine design. The surprise that's on its way isn't the conclusion of your journey. It's simply the next chapter in a story heaven continues to write. You are walking in the rhythm of God's heartbeat. Even the pauses are filled with purpose. Don't measure your progress by what you can see. God is accomplishing far more in silence than He ever reveals in sound. He conceals His greatest works until the appointed unveiling. And when that unveiling happens, it always surpasses expectations. So don't lose faith because of delay. Delay is God's way of saying, I'm still perfecting what I'm preparing. Some of you have waited for years. You've been steadfast in the unseen, faithful when no one was watching. You've loved God quietly, served Him humbly, and given even when you barely had enough. And now heaven has taken notice. God is about to reward you openly for what you did faithfully in private. What you sowed in tears, you will soon reap in joy. What you built in secret, God will display before the world. He never forgets, he never fails, and maybe right now you're standing on the edge of giving up. You're weary from believing, worn from hoping. But listen closely. Don't quit now. You are too close. The final stretch always feels hardest before the breakthrough arrives. The night always grows darkest before dawn. The silence always grows deepest before the sound of victory. Hold on, because the surprise is about to burst through the clouds. God has seen every second of your endurance, and he has declared that your moment is near. When the door finally opens, it will open suddenly. What took years to build will come together in days. You'll look back and say, it happened so fast, but you'll know it didn't happen fast. It happened right on time. The preparation simply made the manifestation look sudden. You've been in a long season of sowing through prayer, through persistence, through faith. But now comes the harvest. And when it comes, it won't be small. It will be pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You won't have space to contain it. You'll have to share it because overflow can't be confined to one vessel. And when God moves, he doesn't whisper. He roars through the silence of your waiting. He shakes the very ground beneath you to remind you that he still knows your name. The same God who called light out of darkness, who raised the sun from nothing, who parted seas for his people, is preparing a divine surprise that will leave you speechless. You may have walked through seasons of obscurity, delay, and disappointment, but the silence of God never means the absence of God. Sometimes his quiet is the evidence that he's crafting something so extraordinary that if he told you now, you couldn't comprehend it. There are moments when God hides his work because the magnitude of it would be too great for your understanding. You pray, and it feels as if nothing changes. You wait, and it seems the heavens remain silent. Yet behind that quiet veil, God is crafting something magnificent. He is aligning moments, hearts, and circumstances in ways your understanding cannot grasp. The delay was never denial. It was divine design. God often hides his greatest works within the rhythm of ordinary day. The seed develops in darkness before it breaks through the soil. The miracle forms in stillness before it bursts into light. And soon, when you least anticipate it, everything will shift. That heavy season will split open like the dawn. And you'll stand in awe, whispering, I never imagined it would happen this way. When God surprises you, he often does so in ways that defy reason. You'll look back and realize the rejection was actually protection. The detour was redirection, and the loss was preparation. You'll understand that if certain doors had opened earlier, you wouldn't have been ready to walk through them. God postpones some blessings because he wants the blessing to meet the best version of you. The waiting room of heaven is never wasted. It's the classroom of faith. He teaches you to trust, to release, to surrender, and to believe when nothing seems logical. And when you reach the end of your strength, when all you can utter is, God, I can't do this on my own, that's when he steps in and says, now watch what I can do. The divine surprise God is preparing isn't only about what you'll receive, it's about who you'll become through the process. God never grants a blessing that could break you. He shapes you before he shows you what's next. He strengthens your spirit so you can carry the weight of what he's about to release. He expands your capacity so you can manage the responsibility tied to the reward. Many times you think God is delaying your destiny, but he's really shielding it from premature exposure. You might not understand it now, but soon you'll see why it had to unfold this way. God wastes nothing, and He's never late. You see, when God is preparing to move, He often allows the pressure to intensify. The night grows darker just before the sunrise. The test grows tougher right before the breakthrough. The enemy grows louder right before the victory. That's because the closer you are to the promise, the harder the opposition tries to distract you. But stay anchored. Stay steady. Keep your focus on God. What He promised, He will fulfill. What He declared, He will accomplish. The storm cannot cancel His purpose. It can only cleanse your path. The pain cannot erase your destiny. It can only deepen your faith. And when the appointed time arrives, God will elevate you higher than you imagined, faster than you expected, and beyond what you ever prayed for. There is a divine surprise in your future that will make every sleepless night worthwhile. God is about to transform your tears into testimonies. The very trials that broke you are about to bless you. The struggles that drained you are about to define you. You thought your story had ended, but God is about to write a brand new chapter. You thought the door had shut, but God is about to open something far greater, so extraordinary that you'll thank Him for every rejection that once broke your heart. You thought it was over, but God is about to reveal that what looked like loss was actually the setup for a divine turnaround. You cannot fathom what God has prepared for those who trust Him. You cannot measure the depth of His mercy or the height of His plans. You cannot grasp how quickly He can shift everything in a single moment. He can move you from overlooked to celebrated, from broken to blessed, from forgotten to favored. God is not confined by your past, your age, your background, or your mistakes. He specializes in the impossible. And when He steps in, everything changes. Your circumstances, your heart, your vision, your destiny. The very place that once caused you pain will become the very platform where His power is revealed. Don't underestimate what God is doing behind the curtain. You might not see movement, but heaven is working tirelessly on your behalf. Angels are being assigned. Roads are being cleared. Hearts are being softened. Opportunities are being orchestrated. God is aligning every detail with divine precision, and right when you least expect it, He will release a blessing that will leave you speechless. Not because you earned it, not because you were perfect, but because He is faithful to those who trust Him. The surprise that's coming your way is not small. It's not average. It's not something that can be logically explained. It's the kind of miracle that will drive you to your knees in gratitude. And God isn't a God of minor changes. He is the God of sudden transformations. One moment everything appears ordinary, and the next everything shifts. That's how He moves quietly, powerfully, sovereignly. He can take what was meant to break you and use it to lift you higher. He can turn a closed door into divine redirection. He can transform your weakest chapter into your greatest testimony. And when it happens, you'll know without a doubt it wasn't a coincidence. It was God. And when the great surprise comes, it won't just bless you. It will bless everyone connected to you. God's plans are never just personal. They are generational. The miracle in your life will awaken faith in others. The transformation in your situation will inspire others to seek Him more deeply. The favor resting on you will become a beacon that draws others toward hope. That's how God works. He turns your breakthrough into someone else's encouragement. So don't hide what he's done for you. Declare it. Celebrate it. Use it as a testimony of his mercy and power. And maybe right now you're standing in the middle of uncertainty, wondering if your moment will ever come. Maybe your heart feels heavy, your strength is fading, and your faith feels fragile. But hear this truth deep within you. God has not brought you this far to leave you now. The same power that carried you through the storm will carry you into the promise. The same hand that closed one door will open another filled with greater peace, glory, and purpose. You may be walking through darkness, but the light is already on its way. You may not see it yet, but God is moving in the unseen. He's not finished with your story. The best chapter has yet to be written. The blessing that's coming will outweigh the pain you've endured, surpass the losses you faced, and outshine the dreams you thought were gone forever. God is not confined by your timing. He's preparing something that will exceed your expectations and silence every doubt. Stay patient. Stay grounded. Stay in faith. You're not waiting in vain. You're waiting for a divine unveiling, a great surprise that's about to leave you completely in awe.